My name is Mike Cox, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I do therapy. I've been practicing for about 26 years, right? A little bit over 26 years now. I have worked, it's that Johnny Cash song, I've been everywhere, right? Like I have worked all kinds of different places. I started working with quarter sex offenders and did that. I worked at a clinic for autism, Asperger's, learning disabilities, did that for a while. Worked in substance abuse. I did a private practice for 2 years in Moscow, Russia, where I worked with the LDS Church and did a really weird gig there where I would fly into missions and do therapy have these days of like 11 clients and just do lots of therapy. Then I'd hit a red eye back to Moscow. So I did that for a while and did substance abuse. Worked at a place called Center for Change, one of the country's probably foremost, we brag a little bit, but it's probably one of the better known eating disorder clinics in the country. So worked there for a bit. Worked at the state hospital on the forensics unit with the criminally insane. Did that a bunch. What else? And then private practice for 10 years. And you're gonna, those who are fact checking, you're gonna say, wait a second, those timelines don't match up. They don't add up. I am the kind of weird dude who's worked several places at the same time. So I keep busy. I've done a lot of therapy. And so today, what the focus of this is, if you'll notice the name of our agency is Veritas, right? That's Latin, fancy, right? Hopefully not pretentious, but fancy. Mm-hmm. And what the idea is, if anybody who knows Latin, or you can do a quick Google search, that means, does anybody know what that is for extra bonus points? Truth. It's truth and light. And so the idea is our practice focuses on what works. We try to cut through the gimmickry and figure out what actually works. So let's go to this. So the shocking truth about overcoming difficult things. Dum, dum, dum. You just fell for. Right? Some of you are like, yeah, I knew it. Okay, it is. You notice I started with this. Everybody starts leaving, right? No, I started with this. Why is this clickbait? Shocking. Did you see that? Ooh, dicey. Crazy, right? The point of this is I'm going to show you it's going to be shocking, hopefully. But I hope all of you, when you see this, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, wait a second, that's all stuff I know. Like, this makes sense. Like, this is all stuff that I know, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go. The shocking truth is sometimes the easy stuff actually weirdly works, right? We're reading the New Testament, right? Or we're supposed to be. And there's many times in the Old Testament, and there's many times in the Old Testament that it talks about these really easy solutions, right? Look on the serpent. Everything will be okay. Right? Bathe in the river 7 times. Right? We got all these different things, these pretty easy things. And I know sometimes it's easy to say them, sometimes hard to do, right? Like if I said, summit Everest, right? How long does it take to summit Everest? Well, let's look at that. How long did it take me to say that, summit Everest? Seconds. What would it actually, if you actually summited Everest, what would that include? Years of preparation, millions of dollars of equipment to get you there. So the thing that takes me 2 seconds is actually really hard to do. And so sometimes that's the case as well. So we want to talk a little bit about this, figure this out a little bit, and I'm going to show you today some shocking truths about how to do things differently. So that's what we're going to talk about. I also included that because my kids thought that was cool. Here's the rules, right? Okay, so here are the rules. So if we're all going to get along, here's kind of how this has got to work. Please ask questions, right? There's no lectern here. You notice that, right? There's no lectern here. I'm a pacer, so I apologize. That's kind of my nervous thing I like to do is I like to walk back and forth a little bit. But please ask questions. I want this interactive. What's the second one? Can you guys see it?
Heckling's okay.
What? I'm encouraging you to heckle me a little bit. Notice there's a but there, right? I won't heckle you back. I'm not here to make you look silly, but I will answer. Heckle me, push me, right? I'm the one presenter who's gonna say, yeah, if you say, yeah, but Mike, wait a second, I'm gonna say, I love that. And the other reason why my beautiful wife is here is to say, hey, that's a rabbit hole, because I can go down rabbit holes really quickly. And so she'll help us kind of stay on track a little bit so that we kind of keep everybody else excited as well. But please heckle me. Say, that's garbage. Everybody says that and it's wrong. I love that, okay? Seriously, I know people say that. I'm not joking. Do it. I will tell you the truth as I understand it. Does that make sense? Are there going to be times in my life where I'm going to say something and then you're going to say, yeah, Mike, but what about this? And I'm going to go, oh, wow. Is that going to happen? I hope it happens today a little bit. Because that's how remember, I'm in process too, right? I'm becoming, I'm perfecting, I'm self-actualizing, whatever you want to call that. I'm learning with the rest of us, right? With the rest of you. And so I'm going to tell you the truth, but it's as I understand it. Of course, I'm not going to tell you something that I think is false, but it's also what I believe to be true. And here's the fourth part that's important. Remember, truth grows. Anybody got an idea of what that means? Yeah, please.
Is it like the line upon line? Like something can be true, but then you get to know more?
Yes. It sticks in your craw a little bit. Does that make sense? Sticks in your beak. Sticks in your beak. It's hard to get down sometimes because it's sort of you kind of ruminate on it a little bit. It should grow. It should be expansive. So I'm hoping that I say something today that's maybe not shocking, right? That's kind of clickbait, but that will stick in the craw a little bit, and you go, maybe this crazy dude with the sweater is right. Maybe he's on to something. Maybe he's got a point. That's my hope. That's my prayer. So let's get going here. Okay, why is life so difficult? So we're gonna start off with this discussion of why is life so crazy and difficult? Because it's a test.
Because it's about progression, and no one will grow without discomfort.
Thank you. We are here to have problems. Sorry, guys. Turns out this is not a Corona Beach commercial. We are here to have problems. We are here to sort things out. And guess what happens when you get a problem fixed?
A new one.
You get another one. Sometimes like tennis balls, right? Right? That's how it feels sometimes. But we're here. What's that?
Said for years on end.
For years on end. And then what happens?
We get one.
And then you die.
But don't die, it's not true.
I mean, I know that's rough, but can we just be really frank about it? Like, we're here to have problems and figure out solutions, and then you go home. This isn't the beach commercial, that might happen after. I don't know. You guys can work that out with the Lord if there'll be corona there or not. But the point is that's what it's about. And I say that not to be like bum bum bum. Like, I'm not trying to do that as a downer for everybody. I'm trying to say that so if you've got problems, fist bump that. Why? Because we're there with you. I mean, I don't have problems because I'm a therapist, right? We don't. Therapists never have problems, right? Of course, sometimes more problems, but we'll get into that. But you see, that's the problem. We're here to have problems, and that's got to be a part of life. So if you've got problems, okay, I'm not trying to say so it's not important. What I'm trying to say instead is that's what we're here to do, and that's how it works. Why is this happening? Right? In 2 Nephi 2:11, we read, there has to be opposition in all things. For you to have great joy, you also have to have a little bit of not great joy. Does it make sense? It's how it works. We're here to sort it out. right? There's like a bajillion scriptures we could put in here. Where is the pavilion, the coat? See, we could do all these different things, right? There's lots of places where we could put in there. And it's like what life is kind of about. Okay, video. Ready? Here we go. Hey, it's not about the nail, right? Somebody said that. Wait, who said that?
Or is it?
Go ahead, say it. Wait, say it louder.
Or is it?
Whoa! Goosebumps. This man is a prophet. Here's the idea. I know, right? Or is it? I so love that you said that. You can't stage this kind of stuff. I swear to you. Why would he say that? That's a veteran.
She had a nail in her head. So.
But here's a veteran of the war over here, the war of life, saying it's not about the nail, or is it? And the answer is, I love this video. And the reason why I show this video is not just because the copyright is expired and we can use it now. It's because it's so beautifully created and they had no idea what they were doing. I know they had no idea what they were doing. They're trying to point out the thing because their statement is actually really, it's about the nail. You've got to get that nail out. And it's kind of this dichotomy, especially in therapy, right? Of you've got to get that nail out of there or your head's going to continue to hurt. And they're trying to kind of poke fun at that a little bit. But I love what was said, obviously, because, or is it? And the answer is yes. Could it be about both? And the answer is it could be. And we're going to show you, by the end of this, why it's about both. Here. Okay. Quick, brief history of addiction, therapy, and treatment, and how we do this. Okay, so I'm going to do this really quickly. Brief history. In the past, we've done a confrontational model. We've used a disease model, which is kind of newer, and then just really kind of new on the scene is we're applying systemic approaches to addiction and behavioral issues, right? So let's talk about those individually, really quickly. Confrontation. So once upon a time, and this is a little embarrassing for me, but I'm going to admit this. When I was first a therapist, I'm old enough to remember this model. And the confrontational model of addictions therapy was this. I'm going to point you out, sorry. Yep, it was this. You got a problem. Everybody you love and cares about, it's pissing them off. Sorry, I know that's horrible. And you better stop it, or you're going to lose everything you value.
Did it work?
Not at all. Not at all. It works when I'm like right here. See, like whatever his problem is, because his nose picking problem or whatever he's got. For a minute, he's like, I'm totally giving up nose picking because I'm like right here in his grill. Sorry to embarrass you, but right here in his grill, like pointing at him. Like, can you see my finger? Like who does that? Like the optics of this are really horrible, and I'm pointing at him. I'm gonna say, you better stop it. And I didn't even go with the good one because if let's say he fought back, let's say he's got like some ego strength that wants to like go to war with me, I think they call it a heart of war some places, right? So he's got a heart of war and he says, whatever, Mike, you don't know. Oh, you just did it, brother. Because you know who's the most pissed off about your behaviors? Jesus. See what happens? And as long as he can feel that Jesus is looking at him and going to strike him down, if he does it one more time, he's okay. But then we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that he can't see me in my bedroom, right? I'm just kidding. You're like, oh, is he really going to go for it? Okay. So it doesn't work. And what you get at the end of the day is this idea that behaviors are a choice of self versus other people. Because his nose picking problem, I'm kidding. Everybody's gonna walk out and say, do you really have a nose picking problem? his problem, he's gonna say, it's you love yourself more than you love Jesus and your family. Right? Isn't that what's really going on? I mean, think about it. Do you want to kiss somebody who's a nose picker? Well, if they eat it? Do you want to do that? Do you want to shake their hand? Right? See, you're ruining. Even Jesus is a little offended. He comes to them and goes, "Geez, man." Right? And so, like, we have these ideas, and so it's this idea of I'm picking myself versus everybody else. And you guys, this model does not. I love that somebody asked the question: does it work? It does not categorically work. Yet I get folks every single day that come in, sit on my couch, and what do they say? I got to get beat up enough so that I can choose others over myself. And I'm here to tell you that is never going to happen. So those of you who think you can take enough stripes, who can beat yourself up enough to give up whatever little nasty, dirty, booger picking problem you got, you are sorely mistaken. It has never happened once in the history of this planet. Do not think you can be the first. It won't work. It doesn't fundamentally work. We cannot beat you up enough till you stop behaviors. It doesn't work. Because the second we're not paying attention or we're not watching you, you go in for a pick. Right? Sorry about that. That's kind of gross. That was completely spontaneous. I need to come up with something else maybe a little bit. Okay. Actually kind of borrowed it from the last one a bit too. So, second idea is disease model. And this is the disease model part. Right? We got an organ. This organ, from some cause, has a deficit or defect. And then we have symptoms. This is wonderful for therapy because this gives us credibility. We're not bone rattlers and witch doctors anymore going, ooh, right? We got science now, the power of science, right? And you can see right here, I got the, oh yes, go ahead.
As long as it's not a rare condition, it's a lot easier to do that though.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Medical science doesn't even know what it's doing. I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to be political. But I'm going to be mean and a little political right now. So feel free to heckle. Target. I want someone to explain to me where the gauging is. Which chromosomes? Notice I said some chromosomes. Why did I say z? Because we've moved from a gauging to it's an amalgam. It's a group of genes. Anybody know where it's located? Come on, most of you would have come in here and said, if I said, is homosexuality, is it genetic? And a lot of you are going to say yes. Okay, maybe that's too dicey. Let's go with, how about alcoholism? Alcoholism is hereditary, right? That's genetic. What chromosomes? Yeah. Do you know what would happen if I got a room full of researchers, like the guys with doctor, those guys? And I said, what chromosomes? Guess what they'd say? They'd say, well, you see, we believe it's expressed through various chromosomes located in this. You see, there's this cascading. In fact, that's eye color, we know. Hair color, we know. Race, we know. These things that are genetic, we know. We come up with this idea of science. Oh, it's science.
You know you have a good doctor, though, when in a doctor's appointment, they will say to you that, this happened with my doctor recently, that he was like, I don't know much about this because rare condition, and he's like, you probably know more about it because you've done all this research. And he did research in his office while I was getting x-rays done.
Beautiful.
You know you have a good doctor.
You know you got a good doctor.
But majority of the time,
right,
that is not the case.
I don't know anything about this, but I'm willing to help you figure it out and join with you to figure this out. That is a great doctor.
That's why they call it practicing medicine.
Thank you. Leading cause of neuropathy. Does anybody know what the leading cause of neuropathy is?
Having feet that are old. Yeah, pretty much.
The answer is we don't know. We know it's happening. We don't know why.
Another example is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. If I remember correctly, there's 13 types. 12 of them have genetic, like actual markers. The type that I have, hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, does not have like a
Right.
thing yet. They're in the process of finally doing the research.
Right.
Not quite.
So we don't know. But this is beautiful. We love this for us as therapists because this gives us credibility. We can now say science, right? And what I'm hopefully showing you is that, yeah, science helps answers things, but it doesn't necessarily always get us there. But this is a really common thing. We love this right now. This is a big deal. It's not that new. It's like it's been around for quite a while, but it's kind of an idea, and it's simply the idea of this. You've got an organ called the brain. It has a hedonistic dysregulation. That's some $5 words right there, right? What does that mean? It means I do stuff for me because I like it. Now I want everybody in the room who never and has never done stuff for themselves because they like it, go ahead and raise your hand. Yeah, that's awkward, isn't it? We all do it.
What was the question?
Those people who have never done stuff, hedonistic dysregulation, do stuff for themselves because they like it. Now I'm going to say, because you're going to say, whoa, 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 hang on a second, Mike. Come on, somebody heckle me. What about now dysregulation? That's out of balance, right? Okay, I like that. I like what you're doing. Slide's working against me a little bit. Okay, cool. How many of us have done things that we like for ourselves? Probably, if we're gonna be honest, to a little bit over the top level. I mean, I collect a few Pokemon cards, but I mean, maybe I'm collecting a lot of Pokemon cards. You know what I'm saying? It's a little something I do for myself. Keeps me happy. And the gum is delicious. I'm kidding. Yes.
Autism.
What's that?
Autism.
Autism. Man, these guys are collecting like crazy, right? And so then you have, as a result, you have these symptoms. So it shows up on my couch all the time for a list of symptoms. And it's easy to start treating symptoms, right? You do this too much, you do that not enough, this, that, everything, blah, 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 blah. And it gets very behavioral very, very quickly because we love this model because it makes us feel good. Next model really quick. And this is all the other models. This is where we've taken general therapeutic models and we've applied them to the idea of behavior and how behavior works. Right? Let's look at this first one. I put initials up there. CBT. Does anybody, for extra credit points, does anybody know what it is?
Is it clinical behavior therapy?
Nope.
Close.
Cognitive behavioral therapy. What does that B stand for? Right. Did you know it didn't used to have that? Yep. No, it's true. It's true. It didn't. Why? Because we got kind of nervous because behaviors weren't changing. And so we said, well, it's got to have a behavioral component to it. So we threw that in there to make everybody happy. Right? This is extra credit. If you get this one right, I will be very impressed. Dialectical behavioral therapy. Does anybody know how that links to cognitive behavioral therapy for extra credit points?
No. Is this like when self-talk changes your behaviors, changes the way?
That's cognitive behavioral therapy. So close.
It's a skill-based approach that uses multiple different skills. It's very easy to help process, work through, emotionally regulate. You also use dialectics with different points of views to help get to a middle ground to better process and work through different dilemmas and struggles.
Wow. He got it. He got it. Here's what it is. It's CBT for people who are emotionally dysregulated. That's it. How about EMDR? Eye movement desensitive reprocessing.
Mm-hmm.
Eye movement desensitization.
It's basically like,
Yeah.
it goes like this.
I'm not making fun. I
No,
couldn't.
you're good. No, you're good. It's just, my brain is. I'm also on the spectrum, and
Right.
my brain is just trying to remember like the exact.
Right. And it does these different things, and it desensitizes the trauma. What we found, meaning researchers who research EMDR, who do not focus in their practice, i.e., they don't spend and they don't make thousands of dollars a year off of this. The researchers find that the eye movement desensitization is no more effective than placebo. That means Dumbo. It's a black feather. You can fly the entire time. Now here's a weird part about this story. I'm going to tell you how old I really am. Because I was there when this model was first released on the world. It was in 2000. It was in 2000, and a CBT specialist, meaning she was doing CBT too, came up with this idea about eye movement because she was walking and some things happened, and she talked about how that worked. And I'm blanking on her name right now because I'm that old. But I'm at this presentation called The Evolution of Psychotherapy, where if you know therapists, these are the great to get together every 5 years, at least they used to. I was at this presentation where there was Albert Ellis, if you know who that is. Beck was there. All kinds of people who if you study this, will learn about in school. And she got up and she presented this, and they laughed her off the stage. I am not joking. I've never seen anything so harsh or nasty at a conference before in my life. They got up there and they denounced her publicly. Well, here we are. I guess she won, didn't she? The point is that EMDR, I know I need to focus on it. The EMDR thing works as good as placebo, but what about the R? Because she didn't used to have the R. So she added the R in, and guess what the R is? Stands for reprocessing. Guess what reprocess is? Anybody? It's cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah. So I've got a new therapy. It's called pizza therapy. I'm kidding. It's called slap therapy. I get to slap you. I feel real better. Maybe you don't. And then we process what happened. Right? That's the idea. So we've got all these like games and trying to figure out what really works. So again, back to the idea. Okay, so great. All this is awesome, wonderful, great, blah, 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 blah. But what if this isn't really the problem? So let's go on to this. We'll go kind of quick. Yeah, we'll play this.
What causes, say, heroin addiction? This is a really stupid question, right? It's obvious. We all know it. Heroin causes heroin addiction. Here's how it works. If you use heroin for 20 days, by day 21, your body would physically crave the drug ferociously because there are chemical hooks in the drug.
I love those eyes.
That's what addiction means. But there's a catch. Almost everything we think we know about addiction is wrong. If you, for example, break your hip, you'll be taken to a hospital and you'll be given loads of diamorphine for weeks or even months. Diamorphine is heroin. It's in fact much stronger heroin than any addict can get on the street because it's not contaminated by all the stuff drug dealers dilute it with. There are people near you being given loads of deluxe heroin in hospitals right now. So at least some of them should become addicts. But this has been closely studied. It doesn't happen. Your grandmother wasn't turned into a junkie by her hip replacement. Why is that? Our current theory of addiction comes in part from a series of experiments that were carried out earlier in the 20th century. The experiment is simple. You take a rat and put it in a cage with 2 water bottles. One is just water, the other is water laced with heroin or cocaine. Almost every time you run this experiment, the rat will become obsessed with the drugged water and keep coming back for more and more until it kills itself. But in the 1970s, Bruce Alexander, a professor of psychology, noticed something odd about this experiment. The rat is put in the cage all alone. It has nothing to do but take the drugs. What would happen, he wondered, if we tried this differently? So he built Rat Park, which is basically heaven for rats. It's a lush cage where the rats would have coloured balls, tunnels to scamper down, plenty of friends to play with, and they could have loads of sex. Everything a rat about town could want. And they would have the drugged water and the normal water bottles. But here's the fascinating thing. In Rat Park, rats hardly ever use the drugged water. None of them ever use it compulsively. None of them ever overdose. But maybe this is a quirk of rats, right? Well, helpfully, there was a human experiment along the same lines. The Vietnam War. 20% of American troops in Vietnam were using a lot of heroin. People back home were really panicked because they thought there would be hundreds of thousands of junkies on the streets of the United States when the war was over. But a study followed the soldiers home and found something striking. They didn't go to rehab. They didn't even go into withdrawal. 95% of them just stopped after they got home. If you believe the old theory of addiction, that makes no sense. But if you believe Professor Alexander's theory, it makes perfect sense. Because if you're put into a horrific jungle in a foreign country where you don't want to be, and you could be forced to kill or die at any moment, doing heroin is a great way to spend your time. But if you go back to your nice home with your friends and your family, it's the equivalent of being taken out of that first cage and put into a human rat park. It's not the chemicals, it's your cage. We need to think about addiction differently. Human beings have an innate need to bond and connect. When we are happy and healthy, we will bond with the people around us. But when we can't, because we're traumatized, isolated, or beaten down by life, we will bond with something that gives us some sense of relief. It might be endlessly checking a smartphone, it might be pornography, video games, Reddit, gambling, or it might be cocaine. But we will bond with something because that is our human nature. The path out of unhealthy bonds is to form healthy bonds, to be connected to people you want to be present with. Addiction is just one symptom of the crisis of disconnection that's happening all around us. We all feel it. Since the 1950s, the average number of close friends an American has been steadily declining. At the same time, the amount of floor space in their homes has been steadily increasing. To choose floor space over friends, to choose stuff over connection. The war on drugs we've been fighting for almost a century now has made everything worse. Instead of helping people heal and getting their life together, we have cast them out from society. We have made it harder for them to get jobs and become stable. We take benefits and support away from them if we catch them with drugs. We throw them in prison cells, which are literally cages. We put people who are not well in a situation that makes them feel worse and hate them for not recovering. For too long, we've talked only about individual recovery from addiction. But we need now to talk about social recovery, because something has gone wrong with us as a group. We have to build a society that looks a lot more like Rat Park and a lot less like those isolated cages. We are going to have to change the unnatural way we live and rediscover each other. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.
We could
This
mic drop
video
right
is
there.
a collaboration with Johan.
So the opposite of addiction is connection. The opposite of anxiety is. Anybody want to guess? Connection. The opposite of depression is.
Probably connection. Connection.
Wow, I'm sensing a theme here. You guys getting the theme here? I think there's a theme here. I'm going to say something crazy right now. Remember, I told you I worked at the state hospital. Those are people with florid psychosis, which we pretty much agree medically is a chemical problem. Their brain chemistry is off. One of the best treatment modalities isn't pharmacotherapy, meaning giving them medication. Do you know what the best treatment for schizophrenia is, the most effective? It's connection. You're going to say, nah, and then just, it is. And I could give you hundreds of stories. There's a beautiful movie called A Beautiful Mind. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. Right? He has, this is spoiler, maybe this might be a spoiler. Sorry, spoiler, if you watch it. He's psychotic, right? But notice at the end of the movie, is he still psychotic? And the answer is, he is. He still has psychosis. There's a beautiful scene at the end of the movie where he looks at one of his graduate assistant coming out of the room, and he goes, "Do you see somebody standing right next to me?" And she puts her arm on his head. "Yes, there's somebody standing right. Thank you. Sorry, I struggle sometimes." That's what he says. He is still having the effects of psychosis, but he's able to work. He's still married. He has a family. He's functioning. And this individual, because it's based on a true story, this individual is functioning without medication. How is he able to do that? The power of connection. That is the shocking truth. That is the reality. It's about connection. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Connection changes our cage, right? So if you take home nothing else, take home that flashing red part. Connection changes our cage. You can have a sticker chart for your nose picking. Buy yourself little gifts when you get along, certain areas, certain times down the thing. Oh look here, give me some Birdie Bot beans that taste like boogers or something, right? But at the end of the day, that is not what changes our behaviors. What changes our behaviors is connecting with other people. Now we're going to talk a little about why that's the case. I'm going to try to prove it. But first, a quiz. Which one reflects addiction, do you think, the most?
Right. Being alone.
See that? You're like, well, you set that up. No, but think about it, though. What happens when you have an addiction? You're hanging out with friends, and a great thing, right? And the answer is, isn't it funny how addiction starts that way a lot of times? Hey, it's at a party. Ah, yeah, we're having fun. And then pretty soon you're like, doing it in your room where nobody else can see. And pretty soon it gets really crazy, doesn't it? It starts off as a social thing, and notice it kills it. It kills it. Addiction kills social. Matthew 22, 34 through 40. This is out of Jesus' mouth, right? And he talks about this, right? So we've got 37 and 39. And these give us the prescription, don't they? What does it say? Anybody want to read that really quick for us?
33, 9.
Yeah. Do 37 and read just 37 and 39.
Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, can I be honest with you guys? Jesus cheated a little bit here. If you think about it, if you're counting, he's actually got 3, didn't he? He kind of squeezed 3 in there a little bit. And it's okay. He was asked, what is the greatest? And he gave us 3. I love God. Love means have a positive relationship with. I love God. Then I love myself. And then I love others. Right? And you might be sitting here going, all right, Mike, this is all really great and everything. But see, I got a problem with low self-esteem. I don't really have a problem with nose picking. It's not really a behavioral thing. It's more of like this thing, I just don't love myself very much. How could I love myself more? First, you start with, is that possible? Okay, so let me ask you a question then. So if the creator of the entire universe is like, Mike, you're pretty cool, it's kind of hard to hate yourself, isn't it, a little bit? So think about that for a second. So for me to hate myself, I have to convince myself, no. See, Mike, you got it wrong. God loves everybody else, not you. For some special, I said that word on purpose, for some special reason, God doesn't like you. Maybe it's your nose picking, right? That sounds like that confrontation model creeping back in again, doesn't it, right? So you talk about the secret of scrupulosity is this idea that God doesn't like you because of what you do. So the solution to that is developing a relationship with God, and I say this with all love. I say this with all love. Sometimes people say that and they don't. I really say this with all love. You are not that special. I'm so sorry. You are not that special. God loves you just like he loves everybody else. If you think you're a special exception to that rule, prove it. What makes you so darn special that God decides of all the people in existence, I don't like you? It's not a thing. Sorry, I love you. But so does God. You're not that special. God loves you just like he loves everybody else. So let's start developing that relationship. Maybe your friends suck. I understand it. My friends suck sometimes too, right? It's a thing. It's a thing, right? But God doesn't. But God doesn't. So I work on that relationship with God. Then I work on the relationship with myself, right? And you can see how that first one kind of spurs the second one. When I love myself, then what happens? It's weird. I start loving other people. It's easy. When I'm compassionate with myself, you're kind of surprised at how you kind of are compassionate to other people. You know, well, that's a little weird, but it's okay. You know, we're all kind of weird, aren't we? Right? Connection is a two-way street. I've got my part of it. Was there a hand up? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think I was about to ask that you might be about to answer. Like,
Yes.
what about all of my humans I'm acquainted with for their depression and borderline personality disorder?
Ooh.
Like, the symptom is to like avoid connection or cut off connection.
I'm gonna hit that in 3 seconds. Is that cool?
Yes.
Like you actually like getting a prophetess right here, because I was literally about. I'm not even joking. I was literally about to hit this, and if I don't,
Okay.
call me on it, okay? Connection is a two-way street. There's certain things I have to do, right? And then there's also certain things others do. Notice what I do is exactly the same as what others need to do. Oh, that's crazy, right? No, yeah. So we're both kind of working on this bridge together. I'm going to teach you a secret. This is a pro tip. So jot this one down or memorize it. And please, this is one of the ones where I am open to criticism, and please don't let me get away with this if you disagree. What I gain from the relationship has very little to do with other people. I love it. Thank you. Explain that. So, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, but find your local favorite therapist, right? Warn them and say, I'm about to set you up, because otherwise that's mean. And say, you studied the Gottman Institute's theory on relationships and marriage, right? And they'll say, of course we do. That's the premier marriage and family, place where you learn about that stuff, right? They're the main researchers. They've been doing it forever. Is reciprocity important in relationships? And about every therapist on the planet will say, except for one in a blue sweater today, will say, absolutely, you have to have reciprocal relationships, right?
I would say so. I feel like there's a but.
Of course, everything's got a butt. This is a big butt.
Mom.
This butt might ruin the actual. It might be all butt and not. That's a weird visual, isn't it? Sorry about that. Do you see how that works? So here, I'm not done yet. So what's the but? Then ask that same therapist and say, yes, reciprocity is important in relationships. And then ask them this question. Okay, but then what about scorekeeping? So it's got to be reciprocal, but no scorekeeping. And then they all kind of sit there and go, oh.
What do you mean by scorekeeping?
Scorekeeping is where you say, did I call you first or did you call me?
Okay.
Well, see, you came to see me today, right? So I guess I got to come visit your apartment today, otherwise we're not friends. That's how that works. Or you texted me first, or you're always texting me and I'm never answering it back. Oh, sorry, we got to get going, huh? It's every therapist on the planet will say, yes, it needs to be reciprocal, but scorekeeping is bad.
Yeah.
The Gottman Institute would say, the Gottmans aren't really doing this anymore. We're just gathering data right now. We don't say we've got all the answers. We're just trying to report the data that we're finding. Is that good? I can get a job.
It's a good job.
See how that works? And it's totally a dodge. Because here is the truth. It doesn't matter. What I gain from the relationship is my being able to love. And I'm going to give you two quick, powerful examples. The first example, his name is Jesus. That man loves. We know his life was ready to go. He was ready to embrace he was ready to embrace his Father. Right? If you read the New Testament, which we'll do next year, there'll be this wonderful little time when he's in the wilderness of Judea before he begins his ministry. Satan comes and tempts him 3 times. He passes the test. Jesus' calling and election is now made sure. So then what was all that other stuff then? You know, all the water into wine and the fishes and the loaves and all that other stuff. Why did he do all that stuff? For us. He loves us. How are we at loving him? Not great. But we're covenant makers though, right? We go in there and we get in the temple and we promise Jesus, I'm going to do this and this, and this, and it's going to be so great. And then we walk almost as we're walking out of the temple, hey, get out of my way, man, right? See, push some guy down, or we honk at them because they're going too slow, right? See, that, I mean, maybe you guys don't do that. But you see how that works though, right? Jesus makes an agreement with us that he knows we're going to break. It's a bad relationship. It's not reciprocal. What he gets out of it is the ability to love. It's less about other people loving. Now, you need somebody there. So if there's like, yeah, I'm not going to love you, then that's a little bit hard. That's where the pain comes from, is people reject me or they walk away. But the idea that they love me to the same level that I love them, or that they're all about loving me and I'm all about loving them, doesn't work. Question?
So if you're in an abusive relationship,
Right.
you love someone with all of your soul,
Yep.
and they like love you sometimes, but then sometimes they do everything in their power to tear you down.
Right.
Are you in a perfectly fulfilled relationship because of your love?
No. But why would you stay there? See, the myth that I'm getting nothing from this relationship is in fact false. Oftentimes why a woman would stay, that was very sexist, wasn't it? Why an individual would stay in an abusive relationship, because yes, women are abusive, just different. Why somebody would stay in an abusive relationship is because I am in fact getting something from it. Back to our friends, you said borderline. Boy, we love those folks. Because when you get a borderline client, you got a client for life. Unless you don't. What happens if you don't? They're going to kill your cat. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Here's why. Thank you for saying that. Here's why. Because it's all about what I get out of the relationship. They are constantly thinking, if you love me enough, I won't suck anymore. Borderline personality disorder is a cluster B personality disorder. Google that if you're interested. It's because there's 2 clusters. There's a cluster A and there's a cluster B. All of your cluster B personality disorders, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality, serial killers, and histrionic personality disorders are all personality disorders because it's a personality trait where everybody else in the room dictates my value. Right? And if you're not nodding along with me, I hate you. Well, I nodded a couple of times, right? Like, it's got to be, no, it's all or nothing. And so that's what they hit. And so they get into this they're all about reciprocity. And their memories are like elephants. They're long and sordid. They know all, that one time I called you, do you remember that? You didn't answer? You're like, no, because I didn't answer. See, it's this whole intense thing. Do you see? It's all intense because you're going to give me value. See how that works? And the answer is when you can get a borderline personality disorder to realize that when you can get the value and benefit from loving other people and to not worry about other people's papers. And so I have this really horrible saying that I'll say all the time with my marriage couples and my borderlines. I'll say, I love you. Because I do. Eyes on your own paper. What does that mean? Quit worrying about who texted who first. Go to the freaking party and have fun. Right? Quit worrying about whose idea it was, who had to give the invite, who always has to go over to whose apartment, all these other little stupid things that we always get wrapped up in. And if you like a girl, right? You're here this week, and there's a girl, and you're like, dude, she's kind of cute. Walk up and talk to her. If she's not mean to you, what should you do? Don't say get her number. You never get a person's number. Never get a person's number. You give them your number, right? It's hard to stalk somebody who called you. Little safety thing there, right? So I give them my number, but then do I sit and get crappy about the fact that, or if you're the person that gets the number, do you feel crappy about the fact that you had to contact them first? The answer is no. You're happy that you have the opportunity to say, maybe or maybe not. We don't get crappy about who does what first. That's silliness. I know, we gotta go. This is super important too. John 17:23. It's buried in the intercessory prayer where Jesus talks about how he's praying. We sometimes Mormons hate this section because it's I and thee and thou and me. And the Catholics all use it for a proof of the Trinity. And so we don't like it, but it's a nugget buried in here. How are we made perfect? As we come together. Imagine. How old is this technology? Almost from the beginning. Remember, Lucifer was the one that says, see, you are naked, run and hide. What was God and Jesus doing?
Calling their names to him.
Yeah, did they not know where they were? Of course they knew where they were. They're like, what are you doing hiding under that bush over there? Seriously, dude? Come on, man. You think you're like, where are you, Adam? Right? Sorry, I have some temple video problems. And Adam's like, it's not my fault, it was her. Sorry.
We're toddlers.
What's that?
We are toddlers to God.
Yes. Oh, right? And what does God do? Hey, don't worry. I'll send my son. We'll take care of this. We'll get it figured out, right? I got you, bro. Right? Okay. We cannot accomplish, in 12 steps we say what we cannot accomplish alone, we accomplish together. That is the beautiful part of 12 steps. It's not the steps. The steps don't save you. The community does. You've got somebody you can call 24/7 and say, I'm struggling, and they'll answer. That is a beautiful, beautiful gift. But 12 steps doesn't know either. And they'll pester you and hassle you about working the steps, when in reality what you need to do is keep going and connecting and changing your cage. The Lord's plan seems to be we have weaknesses. Those weaknesses turn into trials as we struggle with them. And the reliance on God, self, and others turns those weaknesses into strengths. Brothers and sisters, it's that simple. So the next step you need to figure out with your booger picking issue, how do I connect better? If you look at the commandments, that is what it's about. It's more efficient connection, right? I go to a party, we're all smoking weed, right? Because that's really super cool. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen that 70s show, right? There's at the end of that 70s show, right? There's this beautiful scene. They have it every episode, and they're going around the table, and there's somebody talking. Well, so I said to her, da, 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 and then it goes to the next person. And they're like talking about completely different topic. Fact check me. This is a very real representation, if you've never been, or you've been too high. This is a real representation of marijuana at a party. Everybody's connected, everybody's loving, everybody's doing this wonderful thing, and they're all having completely different experiences. It doesn't really bring us together, it just makes us feel like we're brought together. Go and connect. Figure out better ways to connect. So even things like the word of wisdom have sort of a connection component to it, right? If I'm constantly drunk all the time and trying to beat you up, it's hard to be cool. Right? If your buddy is constantly going out and getting drunk all the time and you're in bar fights every weekend, after a while you say, hey, I got this dream that maybe we go out and not get in a fight this weekend. Crazy. Right? Notice those things always start off as this very social, wonderful thing, and they always turn into this very negative social thing. Eating disorders. I just want people to love me. And everybody knows we love thin people, right? So I'm going to do whatever it takes to be thin, and people will love me. And then pretty soon I'm like, I don't care about other people. I'm just going to be as thin as possible. And pretty soon that drive to be thin becomes all you think about. I'm doing anything and everything I possibly do to be thin because you know thin people are happy. And one of these days, if I get thin enough, I'm going to be happy enough. And I think the thinner I get, the happier I'm going to be. Do you believe me? Did you see how it spiraled out of control? Yes.
I haven't seen a whole lot of it yet, but the show Drop Dead Diva, I've been starting to watch it, and it's basically a model who died, went to heaven, came back into a bigger size girl that's a lawyer. And one episode recently was about this between 12 and 16, I think. I can't remember how old the girl was. But she was following like a diet plan that wasn't actually a diet plan that her mom had gotten her after she had begged her mom.
Right.
And they finally realized like it wasn't real, and not even the person that like owned the company, like I can't remember her name, but was the one like promoting it and all that. Not even she had this stuff. She had done gastric bypass surgery or whatever, and so that it just reminded me of that.
Right. If you want to be the right weight, how do you do it?
Be good food. Get comfortable in the weight you're in, and then you love your life.
You change the cage. Quit trying to get the right heroin. Maybe there's better heroin out there. I just got the wrong heroin. No. Change the cage. Brothers and sisters, if you want to get over whatever's troubling you, change the cage. There's God, there's yourself, there's others. Sometimes I spend time with myself. Why? Because I like you. And I do the things that I like to do. And they don't have to be always the things that me and my wife like to do. Right? And that's okay for me. It's not okay for her to do that though, right? Okay, we gotta end. Sorry about taking too much of your time. Yeah, I won't go over this stuff. Again, this is so I can pay the bills or whatever. Please, remember the take-home message. Change the cage. Quit worrying about finding the right drug or worried about how much you're swiping on your phone or whatever else. See, I have problems with that all the time. I'm gonna say one last thing and I'll shut up, I promise. My kids are always on their phone. So what do? I actually live with boys right now. So I sit at the table, they're on their phones, and I go, you know what the problem with women are? What? Hey there, Mr. Boomer guy, that's sexist. I don't think you can say that kind of stuff, right? I'll say controversial things. We have controversial discussions, right? What do you guys think about this? I'll have to just sit down at the table and go, Epstein. Guess what? Everybody puts their phone down and oh, we're in it. We are in it. You want to get people off their screens? Give me a reason to get off my freaking screen. Change my cage. Don't get rid of my phone. Utah legislature right now has passed a bill. You all know, some of you know about it, especially if you're educators.
Yes, I was a substitute teacher. No phones allowed.
No phones allowed in high school. Right.
Any
Why?
public school.
Why is it bad? Why is it bad to have phones in high school? Because we're lame. Because teachers are lame.
They do so much on their phones.
If I want to engage you, what do? I engage you. I go in and I say, Epstein. And everybody's gonna go like, what? I'm like, let's talk about how that relates to mathematics.
What? He was a math teacher.
There you go, see? Okay, we gotta go. Thank you guys so much for coming. Please do take a stress ball, take them and throw them at people, whatever. No, please don't do that. Like, pass them out, whatever you guys want to do. Thank you so much for coming.